Welcome to Live with Shatufa. Welcome, family. You are very, very welcome to the show. We are live wherever you are watching us from. Thank you very much for supporting this platform and this channel. Always remembering that we are looking at the freedom of the Zimbabwean people, and we are praying for the new great Zimbabwe, praying for the manifestation of the blue train, for God is in it. And a lot is happening that continues to signify that indeed we are getting closer and closer to our freedom as a people and as a nation. Greetings once again, and I want to welcome you to the show. Today we are looking at the economic crunch and the hyperinflation, how it is threatening Mnangagwa'S very existence. There is a lot now that is happening. If you remember, we spoke about this issue right in the beginning of the year when we declared that this year Mnangagwa is going to be facing quite a lot of forces that are against him, forces that start from the military just being dissatisfied by him, forces like ZANU-PF also going against his policies, forces like the masses of Zimbabwe not agreeing to the policies of ZANU-PF, and also the economy being one of them, also the international pressure being one of those. And we have quite explicitly said the very issue of the economy before the end of this year will be at its worst. I think you can go back and watch the very first videos that we did in the beginning of the year. We spoke about this very issue and look at where we are before we even get to half of the year. Already signs are showing that they are very, very bad. Things are getting worse by the day in Zimbabwe, and Mnangagwa and ZANU-PF right now, they don't even know what to do anymore. They don't know what to touch. They don't know what to do. Right. When you see a post like this one from the Herald that is saying that the government is implementing a raft of measures to steady prices, arrest speculative activities, and stabilize the exchange rate, President Mnangagwa said, right? These are things that they've said from time immemorial. We don't even remember since when they've been saying these things. But when the more they say these things, this is just cheap talk. This is just cheap talk. There is nothing that will ever change that you think they are doing. They just come here. Maybe he was speaking in that political meeting or wherever it was where he said this just for the sake of saying something about it. But on the ground, there is nothing that is being done. ZANU-PF and Mnangagwa have totally failed to do anything about the economy. And when you look at the things that he's talking about here, he's talking about measures to steady prices. You don't steady prices. You see, the problem is ZANU-PF and Mnangagwa, they want to fight symptoms. They don't want to go to the root cause of the problem. They want to fight symptoms. So when you hear them talking about measures to steady prices, they want to threaten business people. They want to arrest business people, things like that. Those are symptoms of an ailing economy. What is needed is not for them to fight prices, to fight to steady prices. No, it is for them to go back to the drawing board and check where the wrong starts, and they sort the issue right from the root cause. But unfortunately, these are firefighting politicians. They only start acting when there's a problem. If there is no problem, they are relaxed. They are busy attending to other issues. Where there is a problem now and it is up the neck, that's when they start to want to look at what to do. But it won't work. And they are talking about arresting speculative activities. All these speculative activities that they are talking about are things that are done by ZANU-PF chefs. The ZANU-PF chefs are the ones that are killing the economy of Zimbabwe, because they are the ones that are entering into illicit deals. They are doing corruption. They are stealing from the country. They are taking money from RBZ, flooding the market with money, selling money. Exchange of money is done by ZANU-PF bigwigs. Those are the ones that are employing those people that are exchanging money in the streets. So when they talk about arresting speculative activities, we don't even know what they are talking about, because they can't arrest themselves. You see, they failed. Mnangagwa has failed to arrest himself and his people. Do you know when he came into power, you remember, family, Mnangagwa spoke about externalized funds. And he says there are billions of externalized funds that are supposed to be coming back to the country. And he gave people, I think, was it 3 months or so? He gave people a window period where he said everyone who knows that they externalized the funds, they must bring the funds back into the country. Not even a cent came back, and he did not even go back to talk about it again, because he knows that he is the greatest externalizer of funds himself. And when he says that in front of all the other people, they would say, you are the first culprit and the biggest one. You must first of all bring the money yourself before you can tell other people to do that. So all this is just cheap talk, like we are saying. There's nothing that will ever change. You will see that the situation will continue to get even worse and worse. And right now, we are talking of an exchange rate of over 40,000, and it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. I'm telling you. So ZANU PF will continue to want to just give us these talks and talks and talks, but they are not going to yield any result whatsoever. So when we look at the situation that is happening right now in the country, we are simply seeing that the days of Mnangagwa are getting worse and worse by the day. Things are getting worse. And this is going to be threatening his very existence. I'm telling you, the economy could be one of those things that will shut him down. It will really go a very, very long way in shattering his administration, because there's a point that they will get to where they can't afford to fund anything, totally nothing, and the government will cease. When the government ceases, everything collapses. When everything collapses, anything is possible. Anything can happen. So this is why we are saying, if Mnangagwa does not do anything that works, of which he does not have any plan, has he ever done anything that has worked? Look at his track record from the time that he got in. Did we ever see anything that you can point to that Mnangagwa did from 2017 until today that you could say was a success? Nothing. This guy, I've been telling you, family, that I trust Emmerson Mnangagwa so much, because he's the man who is capable of bringing ZANU PF down totally and nail it in its coffin totally and totally. So the issue of inflation is really a thorny issue, and it is getting worse every day. There is nothing that is working. Zimbabwe's annual inflation rose to a 7-month peak of 55% in March from 47.6% in the previous month, according to data released by the National Statistics Agency. And when you see ZimStats releasing information, you must take it with a pinch of salt. Remember, this is a government department that is taking out information. So they are actually consulting with ZANU PF first as to what figures they must give, but they are liars. This is not the correct percentage that they are talking about here. It's even understated. The upward trend in annual inflation comes amid continued currency instability. Since the beginning of the year, the Zimbabwe dollar has continued to depreciate against the US dollar, dropping from 10,000 Zimbabwean dollars against January to the current 22,000 Zimbabwean dollars against $1 US in official trade rate. This is official, but on the black market, it's already at 40. The local currency depreciation is taking place amid delays in the announcement of the 2024 monetary policy statement, resulting in a growing uncertainty in the market. The monetary policy statement is traditionally announced in February each year, and the monetary authorities have cited the need to consult widely as the major reason for the delay. Can you see that the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe is not given the monetary policy? Mtuli is quiet. Nothing is happening. They are afraid because they don't want to bring out the correct inflation rate that Zimbabwe is in right now. They would rather want to keep quiet, holding on to their figures, and not come out in the clean to give the correct figures to the market, because they are afraid of what has happened, because there's a shocking collapse, a total shocking collapse of the economy that has happened. The market is now eagerly waiting for the monetary policy statement to address the current volatility after Zimbabwean President Emmerson Mnangagwa recently said the government was working on a structured currency to stabilize the Zimbabwean economy. And they just look for words that they just stick. You know, these guys, they just come up with words that they just, fit in some statement, structured currency. What are they talking about? What is structured currency? What does that do? What does that mean anyway? And how does that function? Everything is about them being the ones that want to shape out the outcomes. You can't shape out, economics is like nature. You can't fight it. It's like nature. You can't control nature. Nature runs itself according to all its own ways and its own ecosystem. You can't go there and you want to start to say, no, lions must start to eat grass because kudus are getting finished. elephants must not start entering and into the dams because they are causing siltation. You can't do that. Nature will just take care of itself naturally. That's the same thing with the economy. The economy will run itself. ZANU-PF is interfering with the economy. Look at now, they are failing. They are refusing to let out the figures of what is happening exactly in the economy. And it's making things worse than better. What they think they are avoiding, they are actually worsening it by refusing to take out the figures. And this is why the inflation continues, because there is instability, there is panic already in the markets, and nobody knows. Imagine companies need to plan. How can business plan when they don't understand? They've not been given the information about the state of the economy, the monetary policy statement, what are the plans of government, what is going to be happening. Because with ZANU-PF, you can be shocked. You can't plan 5 years ahead with ZANU-PF as a business person, because tomorrow they will wake up on the wrong side of their bed and they will just change everything. So this is why Zimbabwe now becomes a country that is very, very risky to invest in. That's why you find no investors coming in. And instead, at the end of the day, the only investor that will be in Zimbabwe is Emmerson Mnangagwa, which is the issue that we are going to be talking about in the very last show today. We are going to be touching that on Chatufa Television Production. Meanwhile, the month-on-month inflation rate for March 2024 stood at 4.9%, down from the February rate of 5.4%. Zimstat said. Like I said, don't listen to Zimstat. They are liars. These ones, they are lying. The actual inflation rate, when you want to get it, go to the black market. That's the one that will tell you the correct thing of what is happening in Zimbabwe. These are who are still controlled by politicians. They are speaking on behalf of ZANU-PF, and we don't want to be confused by them because they are controlled by politicians. We want the true thing, the actual scenario that is happening in the economy as of today. Because the people that are buying, when they get their money, they buy from the black market. They buy US dollar from the black market. Reserve Bank does not have US dollar for every citizen. Only those big wigs, ZANU-PF, and those that are connected to ZANU-PF can get US dollar from the Reserve Bank. And it is only obtained by those who are up there. And they get it at that, which they are calling the bank rate. That bank rate does not exist to the ordinary Zimbabwean. Every ordinary Zimbabwean gets their rate in the streets, in the black market. So there's no need even to talk about the bank rate, because that bank rate of theirs is just an opportunity for them to loot. They are getting the money at that bank rate, which is lower, and they flood it in the black market, in the streets. Then they raise it up, and then they get profits. They take the money, they bring it back to the Reserve Bank. That's what they are doing. Those are the deals. That's why you see ZANU-PF does not want to get rid of the Zimbabwean dollar, because it is their tool for looting and for the corrupt activities that they are doing of selling money. They are selling money. They are not going to work, most of these guys. They're just in town selling money, and that's it. And they are building mansions, building houses, and buying cars, expensive cars, and things like that, while the country is bleeding. This is why we say we need freedom. Zimbabwe needs to be freed from these hooligans, because we are being run by a mafia. This is not a government. This is a mafia. We are being run by Pablo Escobar and his company. And we can't have Pablo Escobars as politicians who are running a nation that is supposed to prosper. So we will continue to pray as we continue to see Mnangagwa and his ZANU-PF government getting cornered every day. The heat is rising up, things are getting worse, and their days are getting numbered by every passing day. Let us continue to pray. God is in it, and definitely God is going to see us through, because he is going to deliver the great new Zimbabwe that we have been waiting for. So family, I have a show that is coming exactly at past. So let me be signing off so we can be preparing for the next show. We are going to be looking into yet another issue that we are going to be discussing. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me on this show. Remain blessed, remain resolute, remain praying for the nation, for freedom is coming. I sign out.